I think we could go very, very quickly from where we are today to six-digit Bitcoin. I mean, like faster than people can imagine. I think history is going to rhyme. And so as that parabola, as that FOMO picks up later this year, post the halving, and we get into what's called crypto fall, which is when all of the activity and the media attention, and we hit six figures. I do these 10 surprises every year. And one of mine was, that we hit six figures. We definitely take out the all-time high. That could happen in days.
We're days away from a Bitcoin price explosion.
Cathie Wood sees Bitcoin going beyond $1 million valuation.
Bitcoin tag hitting new record highs.
Bitcoin hit a new record high.
In this video interview with Morgan Creek founder, CEO, CIO, and billionaire investor Mark Yusko, he discusses everything from the Bitcoin ETFs to the halving and the parabolic growth in Bitcoin's price that will result due to these two factors.
Seriously? Seriously?
He starts by breaking down the spot ETFs and explains that, in spite of the sluggishness in the beginning, not only did the ETFs smash existing records, they are only getting started. He also discusses how Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, has made a complete 180 in regards to Bitcoin, and explains that BlackRock and institutional powers are now fully aware that Bitcoin is the de facto top asset. He segues from there to discuss price predictions and explains that Bitcoin could go to six figures in a matter of days. Let's dive in to hear it all.
Look, people are talking about it in different ways. There's people saying, oh, it was a total failure. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, we set all-time records for ETF trading on the first day. When you put together the basket, it was $4.6 billion of trading in the first day. Like, oh, but there was only a few hundred million of net inflows because GBTC was being liquidated. I'm like, sure. I mean, did people expect on day one, all the advisors out there would say, oh, I made a mistake. Clearly, I should rush out and load up. No, it's going to take time for education. All the advertisements are going to come. But bottom line, I think it was a tremendous launch, tremendous day for digital assets broadly. All the maxis are upset because, these people don't own Bitcoin. You're right. Technically, you're right. The Bitcoin was created so you and I or anyone else could exchange value without an intermediary. So no, these people are not going to hold their keys and they're not going to put it in cold storage. But here's the thing. There's going to be a transition from TradFi, traditional finance with trusted third parties, to ultimately DeFi or NoFi, right? Where there's no trusted third party. It's just going to take time. But this is a great stepping stone for people to add what has been, the best performing asset over the last decade. It's actually been the best performing asset 12 of the 15 years it's been in existence. Most people have zero exposure. And, I've been talking about this since 2017-18. Get off zero. Zero is the wrong number. When Larry Fink, who's the head of the largest asset manager on the planet, BlackRock, who 6 years ago said this was an index of money laundering, Bitcoin was an index of money laundering, for him to then come on CNBC and say, no, it's a store of value that you should own to protect yourself against the devaluation of the currency. I just read a stat right before I came on with you. Crazy.
So far, Mark has discussed the spot ETFs and their performance post-approval. He's explained that even though the spot ETFs smashed existing records, they still have room to grow, and that they very likely will, especially because they have the full weight of giants like Larry Fink. Next, we reach the highlight of this interview as Mark discusses his price predictions for Bitcoin in the coming days. Sit back as we bring you more clips from the interview.
Here's the thing. There's 30 trillion in boomer accounts managed by financial advisors. It's a lot. If 10 basis points goes into these ETFs, that's $30 billion on an asset that trades about $10 billion a day. That'll move the price a lot. If 1%, which is not even crazy, I think we hit six figures. I do these 10 surprises every year, and one of mine was that we hit six figures. We definitely take out the all-time high. That could happen in days. Once people realize that these ETFs are taking out more Bitcoin out of the market than is mined every day, and after the halving, it's going to be 2 or 3 times So it's just a supply-demand problem. So we had the demand shock. And, basic supply and demand. If demand goes up and supply is fixed, P1 is higher than P2. Basic economics. But if then supply shrinks, P2 is higher than P1. So we're having a demand shock right now, and we're going to have a supply shock in April. We're going to go from 900 Bitcoin a day to 450. You put those two things together, number go up. And then we haven't even talked about the FOMO part and the leverage part and the part.
Bitcoin set a new all-time high of 73,000 USD in March, shooting past the 50,000 resistance zone. It's currently sitting around $70,000, with the total spot ETF market cap sitting around $75 billion. These numbers only tell one story: bullish. All of this before the highly anticipated halving event. This ETF-fueled increase in demand in conjunction with the expected supply shock due to the halving are setting up the perfect storm that Mark predicted. He predicts that prices could go well into six figures. But more importantly, in this interview, Mark mentioned that institutional opinions in regards to Bitcoin have shifted. From Larry Fink's complete 180 to Jamie Dimon, who Mark suggests only opposes Bitcoin because he is afraid of it. The bottom line is post-spot ETF approval. There is regulatory and legal clarity in regards to Bitcoin, and every institution is in consensus that Bitcoin is real. Mark suggests we might even see central banks adopting the use of Bitcoin over gold soon. What do you think about Mark Yusko's absolutely bullish price predictions? To see the latest in crypto news, watch this video here.